Hi everyone, Data Science Building Blocks, Joe here. We are going to pick up right where we left off last time, so if you haven't seen the last video yet or all of the videos in the R unit, please go back and check that out so that you can wind up here in the same place as the rest of us. We have been working with the GGplot library in tidyverse, and we're going to pick up there and today look at making a scatter plot with the mtcars dataset. So go ahead and open up your RStudio and your Data Science Building Blocks R worksheet. If you don't see anything in this data area, go ahead and click Run Everything, and that will catch you up. And we can just pick up here with GGplot scatter plots. I actually did have to run everything. Don't just click Run, do a Control A or select everything first and then click Run. You shouldn't have any errors or anything like that if you followed along last video and ran your code successfully. So once you get to this point, we can then use the GGplot function and plot MPG versus weight. So let's do GGplot, the mtcars dataset. We'll use the AES function, which we've used already. You can see this is actually in the GGplot2 library, which we have already brought into the mix by just pulling in all of tidyverse. So GGplot2 library, GGplot function, and now we're giving the function the arguments that it requires. So mtcars is the data set, the matrix that we want to put into the first argument. Now we're going to use this AES function. It requires an x and a y and maybe some other things, but we'll just start with x equals weight and y equals mpg and do a Control Enter or Run. And now we have our scatter plot, but we don't have any data. So we can add the data by doing a plus geom point and then clicking Enter on everything. I'm actually going to bring this up to the top line. And then click Control Enter. And now we can see that we have plotted weight and MPG, and you can see a little top to bottom negative correlation potentially here. So I ran everything on one line here, but you actually can run this on two lines. You just have to have your plus sign on the first line and then an indent here on your second line. Now if I highlight everything here and click Run, it will take it as expected. It just doesn't like when you put the plus sign on your second row here, and I apologize when I highlight everything, you can't really tell because I'm in dark mode, but I'm highlighting lines 41 and 42 here. And to add a little bit more here, what else can we add? Make sure you do your plus sign up here. I'll go to the next row just by doing Enter. You see I have a little error here because it's expecting something else. Well, we can do a geom text and add labels by doing labels equals row names mtcars. Now I'll highlight everything, run, and it doesn't like that. It's actually, the argument is actually label equals row names mtcars, so sorry about that. Delete your S, highlight everything, run, and now you can see it's a little busy, but it's actually a little helpful. If you were to zoom into this, you can see that this dot here is the Toyota Corolla, this dot here is the Fiat 128. I'd recommend having less points on your chart if you're going to make use of the labels, but certainly helpful sometimes to see what the points actually are. So last video I mentioned using the AES function to do a little bit more. So what else can we do here? We can affect the shape, the color, and the size of the points using the AES function. So I'm going to back this last line of text out just because it's a little busy. I want you to see what's going on here. And don't forget to also delete the plus sign there. I'll put another comment here that just says use AES function to change shape, color, and size. And we will do exactly that inside of this AES function. So do another comma, do a shape equals, and what do we want to use as the shape? We can revisit the empty cars data set and pick something. I'm just going to use gear. And I'm actually just going to use gear for everything. So color equals gear and size equals gear. And then I can highlight everything. You still need this geom point, so highlight the 2 lines here, 42 and 43, click run or control enter. And we have an error here. Let's see what's going on. This is because I actually forgot to convert gear from numeric to a factor. So let's insert a comment right here. Just do convert gear to factor. And we can do, we're going to store this, so empty cars $gear. We'll select this variable, this attribute here from the data set, and then do as factor. And you can see this is a coming from the base library, so this is built into R. And we can do empty cars gear and run that. And you can see it will store it over here. We can now run these lines here with no issues. Perfect. So you see you get a warning message, but that's okay. This still generates exactly what we expect to see. You can see it's changing the shape according to gear. So if it has a 4 gear, it's going to a triangle. It's changing the color according to gear, so it's green if it's a 4 gear, and the size as well. So the higher the gear, the larger the shape on the actual scatter plot. So this can be very helpful. Last thing for today, if you didn't want to put a column into shape, color, or size, you could erase this and actually just determine those down here in your geom point, and AES size equals Q sec. Highlight everything, run it, and now you can see it's actually doing this part of it for you. And we can change this to any variable, so we can do gear like we did before. That should probably make it more clear. And yeah, see here, we don't actually have to specify it up here in the AES function. We can do it down here in another AES function as well. Go ahead and save your work. I'll do a file save. That's all for today. I may or may not take next Tuesday off. When we do reconvene, I'll go over just a few more plotting capabilities in R, and then we'll probably move out of R and into either Python or Power BI. I haven't decided which one first, but we will definitely cover both in upcoming videos. One more in R. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.